Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel where hopefully we're showing you that trading is as easy as you make it on yourself. Last week, well, I guess that's 2 weeks ago now, we got over 3,000 pips live from one of the public calls just like this from trades that we looked at and analyzed. Now granted, that's completely available to you. Those 3,000 pips are worth $300, $3,000, $30,000, and even above that, just to give you an idea. So, of course, without further ado, we're going to go take a look at those trades. We're going to see how they performed and kind of what happened with them. And we're going to just go over a couple of other trades. The whole idea is not to go through all the nitty-gritty information about chart formations and structure and information and all the education, if you will. It's to go over how easy trading can be. It's that once you find a simple system, the strategy does not have to be perfect. It just has to make sense. It has to backtest okay and have good management, reasonably good management. You can be profitable in trading. Most people fail for all the same little reasons, and none of them have to be continued like over and over again. You don't have to keep failing. So, of course, we have to mention disclaimer, don't trade what you can't afford to lose. Nothing on this channel is ever going to be considered legal, financial, or investing advice. I am just your average person, your everyday trader, and you can follow similar safer things on smaller accounts, bigger accounts. You can even do comparable things on actual qualified money if you actually gain the skill set. So, other than that, just to kind of quantify, every broker is different. Leverage is different. Every aspect of everything you can imagine is different from broker to broker and country to country. So regardless of where you're located, when we're talking about a PIP, for the most part, we're talking about specifically Hugo's Way as a broker, just as a way to kind of normalize, right? I know there's going to be differences and there's going to be different values in terms of how all this stuff works, but any brokers I use are in my link tree. If you don't have them, go take a look, go to the link tree, sign up for a demo account with each and every one of them, and figure out which one you like best. But for PIP counts, what we're looking at is specifically this right here in terms of what equals a dollar. A standard, for the most part is $10 on most of these pairs. We know it does fluctuate from pair to pair and broker to broker, but just this is kind of our basis just to kind of give you that math in general. So let's go take a look at how we did on last week. Okay, so this is only the second video of this kind of 4-hour experiment that we're doing. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry for saying last week again. But 2 weeks ago, I did mention, let's give this little management style a bit of a grace period, if you will. I do want a little bit of time to adjust before we really solidify some of this, and you're going to see why today is a prime example. But in general, all of this stuff is predefined long before, so you can back that up and you can verify it that it is duplicatable. In general, I'm using the same strategy that I use in the mornings, the same strategy that has got us well over almost 1 million pips since we started this journey in our morning private classes. Almost 1 million pips is what we've got thus far. This year alone, we're already up over 190,000 pips, and just to give you an idea of what that's worth, that in general for the lot sizes for the pairs that we're trading is what, $190,000. That's 20 minutes, well, an hour more accurately, because we hang out twice a week. That's all that is. So, same strategy that we're using there. Granted, my team didn't advise me that I'm not supposed to be doing too many indices on here, if you will. But the same strategy is what we're using tonight on this Tuesday night call, on this Tuesday night public YouTube. We're using on the 4-hour just as an experiment together to say, hey, if we're locking profit at 1 ATR, right, on the 4-hour time frame or 25 pips, I'd like to extend that a little bit higher, honestly. We're always having our stop loss at structure on that entry time frame or one fractal back with an ATR cushion. Now, granted, I said I wanted a little bit of time to be able to kind of solidify this. I'm a little apprehensive on that 0.25. I want to make it a 0.5 ATR cushion, but we'll get to that here in a little while. And so far, this is what we've done. Granted, the reason why that's so large is because that index right here, the UK 100, is why that's so large. I started on one of my brokers kind of keeping track of what I actually personally collected out of this whole big move. Because remember, you can get 10 times that. You might get 1/10 of that. Depends on how you're managing, right? So, can't say that for the first week. I didn't have that same tool up. But for this last video we had live on YouTube, this moved a total of 261 pips. I got a whole total of 196. Didn't take more than one entry, and my management knocked me out. So, that's how many pips I got in total. On Euro Odd, on the other hand, I did have more than one entry, and that's when I had some drawdown. It sat around for a while. I ended up with more pips. I got over 240 pips on the same pair, right? UK 100, I had over 3 entries in total, but one did not get very much because of how it was managed. But Overall, over 5,000 pips is what I personally earned on this one trade that was already given on Tuesday 2 weeks ago. And last but not least, this one's tricky. I actually, because of where the fractal sat, I got knocked out of a position. And technically, I made a total of 10 pips, pip count-wise, but still took a small monetary loss in terms of a couple of bucks. So this one in total moved 109 pips, all within the realm of what we defined. But we're going to go over that in a second, and I'll tell you what happened with my management and why this happened to me. Just to show you, again, the real, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Thus far, 2 Tuesday night calls, 2 20, 30 minutes. It takes me a hot minute, and then it takes my team some time to get it on YouTube. 2 Tuesday night YouTube videos, and this is what that's worth, to give you an idea. At a single standard lot, which is what this $10 per pip is, that's worth about $38,000 for a single standard lot. Even if you're trading micro lots and the baby lot size that you can possibly get, you're still looking at over $381. Not bad. Free. It doesn't cost you anything. We are on week 2 though, so that price per hour is a little bit different. So week 2 at 3 hours a piece, that's what we're going to get. That should have auto adjusted, but I'll take a look at that later. So again, in the spirit of complete transparency, that's the goal here. Now let's go over to the charts real quick. As you guys can see, before I get all over the place, my team might get frustrated because I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different trade ideas for you tonight. But obviously we're going to limit that a little bit because it takes a lot of time. And if you really want that kind of time and attention, of course, you can come join the membership. You can find all that information in the link tree. But just to kind of get your feet wet, sign up with one of those demo accounts. Try to do these things. It doesn't cost you anything but a few minutes of your time, which is still better than Game of Thrones, right? Doesn't cost you anything. Take the next few weeks or months and just try this. In a demo account, it'll take you a couple of minutes. I'm sure it's a pain in the butt if you don't know anything to get it set up, but once you get familiar, I promise it's not rocket surgery. It's pretty simple. And see how it goes. See if you follow these steps, can you flip a demo account? Can you take a $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 demo account and turn it into $100,000? Give it a try, right? There's a lot to learn. There's going to be a learning curve, but that's what I'm hoping that most people do with these videos. So here's what we have. This is our 4-hour experiment template. As you guys know, this is the same broker I use for the classes I do in the morning. So first things first, remember we did this call on May 23rd, right? That's technically the 24th at 0 o'clock, 2 o'clock-ish for UTC time, right? So that's going to be right in here. That's the 24. We were looking for a sell. At the time we were looking for a sell on NZDUSD. That moved over, hard to see with this doohickey in the way, but you guys get the idea. 250, 260-ish pips. Not a bad way to be. So, same thing, clearing the board, removing that drawing, just to show, hey, this is what we literally looked at together. Let's literally look at it again. UK 100, here we go. This is what we're looking for the sell. We caught a lot of the sell in our morning classes, and we caught even more of the other indexes too, but that's neither here nor there. This one is worth, give or take, 2,900. Remember, this is worth quite a bit. This is worth a lot more than just $10 per pip. Just to give you guys an idea. That is a lot of money on this one trade. Won't be doing too many indices on these calls, but you guys get the idea. So, remove this drawing. I'm going to clear it from our watch list. Hit WW. We did take a look at Bitcoin again because we analyzed it previously too. This pulled back down, didn't really do much. I still think this has a little bit of a room to the upside for those of y'all who are curious about the cryptos, but no trade. This was purple for that reason, violet I guess. So no trade idea, just discussion point. Same thing with Cardano, however you say that. We discussed it as a trade idea. Never took one, which is good because these would have lost had we taken it, right? Had we taken these, we would have lost these. But we did analyze these to say, hey, potential buy. They did push down another level. And, I mean, no harm, no foul. That's the positive and the negative, right, in terms of trading. I'm going to go next to EURNZD. This one kind of really sat still for a hot minute, but here we go. This was the 23rd. This is the 24th. I think we were looking even from all the way back there. To give you an idea, that is 220, 210, 218. That's how many pips that this moved since we looked at it for the buy. And we know it was the buy, right? Not a bad way to be. Simple, easy profit. As you can see, this one is worth less than $10 a pip per standard lot size. And that's kind of goes with the whole axiom of trading, if you will. But let's go to remove that now. Take that off of our watch list as well. Just to show you, because we showed this again on YouTube a couple of days ago. Last but not least, I'm going to have to admit, and for this one I'm even going to draw a vertical line to show you because this is where all the devil's in the detail comes into play. But don't mind my mouse. It's just here for, it's me. It's a me issue. Still a me issue. I promise I'll get us there. Okay, one more time. See if I can't find the right spot. So 2400, there we go, 0 o'clock call. That's gonna be in this candle. So we were looking for this buy. Now granted, I took an active entry. So you know that the fractal paints 1, 2 candles back. One of my entries got knocked out based off of this fractal. One of my entries stayed based off of this one. So depending on where your settings are sitting, that's gonna be kind of really subjective. But if I zoom in to give you an idea, by the time this candle is active, right, this is a valid active fractal. Now, not every broker is going to always be super on point. There are some fluctuations. Don't ask me why. I'm not well versed to be an expert in all that stuff. But just so you know, I did get some people and some feedback on that. But in general, let's take a look at the trade. We knew we were wanting to buy. We knew to give it room in terms of structure. Actual structure is, quite a bit further down here. The actual room would have been here or here. Needless to say, the trade played out really, really well. I got no dollars. In fact, I took a slight loss, just a couple bucks in total, which is kind of the spread and the fees. Ended up moving over 100 pips, 111-ish, and technically is within range from where we discussed it. So this is kind of one of those gray area things, but definitely worth mentioning, which is why I want some time to define how we're going to manage these in terms of the stop loss, as well as how we're managing them for take profit. My goal is, if I say, hey, I can get 200 pips out of this, I would like you to be able to get close to 200 pips. I'd like you to be able to follow comparable, amounts in terms of monetary and pip value. So that's my goal. If we can possibly accomplish it, we'll see. I know there's a lot of variables, but let's take that off. Now, okay, so let's see. This is what I actually got on this is a little cool trade report indicator that we have. I've got it covered up intentionally with this little alert box. But to give you an idea, this is what I actually got on some of those trades. Granted, I never put indices in the same trades as my Forex for the most part, unless I'm doing some scalping testing on a particular individual account. In general, those are all very separate entities in terms of my investments. But so you can see, this is exactly what we accomplished in that with what we've done so far. And we can tell that that's from this certain period of time, if you will. But back to the actual trade ideas, let's talk about it. So I've got a couple, and I'm just going to spout them off verbally. So we've got NZDUSD. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to make it purple, WW. We've got USDCHF, make it purple, WW. We've got gold, purple, WW. Whoopsie. W, gotcha. EURNZD, let's take a look. EURNZD, WW. GBPJPY. All of these are potential good setups. So GBPGN, oh yeah. And then of course here, and then NZDCHF. So as you can see, that's a ton of trades. That is a lot of trades, a ton. First thing I'm going to point out is 1, 2, 3, USD, right? There's a ton of USD. There's also 1, 2, 3, 4, a ton of NZD. So please, even if you're following along with this analysis, don't take every single one of these trades per currency. Don't over leverage your account monetarily, and don't over leverage your account per currency. Take 1, maybe 2 at the most, and then fine. If that one pays out, closes, or loses, you can consider taking a re-entry on the other one, but otherwise pick a couple and leave it at there. So not going to call all of these. I am going to click through them just to kind of show you. This is, again, Jenny's golden strategy. We use it in our morning calls. We use it to scalp indices, and we do a great job with it. All really simple, great tools, great team, great community, and we're super blessed. As you can see, this cool tool gives us lot sizes. It'll even give us potential stop losses and take profits and all kinds of cool stuff, but that's all we're using. So this arrow is only telling us that the conditions of this trade idea are met. It's not some fancy magical algorithm. It's very simple. There's rules to this strategy. This is saying the rules to that strategy are met, and it might be a good time to be looking for an entry. So first things first, if I were to be taking this as an entry, I would be looking for a buy based off of the breakout of this. So green for buy, and there you go. Green for buy. Remember, we're protecting this within about 25 pips, okay? Because as you can see, some of these have a pretty small ATR. So you hit about 25 pips or 1 ATR on the 4-hour time frame, you're protecting. Protecting only means you're trailing out, scaling out, locking profit, right? Or getting out, right? You're making some kind of decision at that price point. That's what that means. Scaling out means you've taken a standard lot size, you're going to take some off the table and then protect the rest of your trade. Or of course, you can use something like I use, like automatic management. So that's NZDCHF. We're looking for a buy. This is very, very simple. It takes me longer to talk than it does to actually do this. This one's a little tricky, okay? Again, we've got this nice void here that I'd like to see it come down and retest. Granted, we're also sitting at another level over here. So if I pop up to the daily to give us an idea, I'm going to turn that darn thing off. But we've made this nice impulse. We have made a higher high. But we're also sitting at previous highs. So can this just be a retest before we continue? Absolutely. But do I think we have a pretty safe amount of pips to say, hey, if and when we break below this area, I'm looking to collect that, what? 1 ATR on this is 59 pips, okay? So that's 111, just down to the ADR low. And of course, we've got about 300-400 down to this liquidity void. So overall, I think this is not a bad trade, not a bad way to be. And I would be looking for a sell on this. I do think I'm going to have to limit this to like 3 trades per one of these videos. That's plenty. But that's GBPNZD, looking for a potential sell. I'm only taking it this week with so much USD and NZD on the table. I'm only taking these upon breakout, and I'm only going to allow myself to be in 2 pairs per currency. So that's really going to limit how many of these can play out, just so we're all on the same page. It's going to limit what my options are depending on what moves when and how and blah, 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 blah. So you can, of course, choose to put a pending order on that at this price point at the breakout, and that would work too, as long as you understand the rules of how we're managing. So back to the management while I go to GJ. Pretty simple, guys. We're using 1 fractal back this is 1 fractal back plus a cushion. I'd like to just use the whole cushion from the 4-hour time frame, or at least 50% of it. So in this case, this would be the fractal, okay, for how I'm measuring would be the base of the fractal plus half of this, right? So that's what you'd be looking at for a stop loss. If you're manually trading, I would still be using this as my stop loss, way up here, giving it plenty of room to breathe before it takes off. The same concept. All this arrow is telling us is that we have a potential setup going. We're waiting for the continuation of that setup, and I'd be taking a sell on GJ. EURNZD, this one has already moved a baby amount, so this one has a little bit less room than what I would like to see. First things first, I'm going to say, hey, if this is where price is going to break out, and all we do is get to in here, that's 179-ish pips. This is 80, 90, okay? And then, of course, all the way down to here, which is where my target is going to be about 316. So this, again, great potential move. I'm going to pop up to the daily just so you guys can get an idea and see what it looks like. We are sitting again at a previous level, but I think we've got some room to push down. If we break this low, we've got plenty of room. Otherwise, I'm just looking to retest in this area, which is going to give us in between that 50 and 300-ish pips. I can live with that decision. So, as you can see, we've got a Jenny's Golden Strategy, JGS Trade Idea, looking for a sell at the breakout of this level. That is 1.75659. 1.75659. And that's that. So, EURNZD. Ta-da! Gold. Kind of in love with this. The world at large. The debt ceiling. The politicians. The non-sensory. Can't say that I'm an expert on all that, but what I can say is I don't have to be able to be good at what I do. So, we've got a current JGS trade idea here. We know what our lot size is going to be. We know where our management is going to go. This ATR is quite a bit bigger, so please make sure you are protecting. Right now we've got it defined at about 25 pips. We are going to be adjusting that on whenever our next Tuesday's calls falls on, because I think we're going to do a little bit bigger on the take profit and a little bit more room on our stop loss as well. But this is our most recent fractal back. Give it some room and a cushion. Otherwise, you're protecting within about 25 pips. What does that look like? It's not very much. That's it. I'm looking for it to come up into this range, which is 100, and actually I'm looking for this to continue to the top side for quite a while. You've got hundreds of pips on the table. That is gold on the daily time frame. You're still following this big time frame trend, as well as, market consensus in terms of value. So even if all we're going to get out of this is a baby bump of a move, I feel like this is a really good risk to reward to show you. If our stop loss is down there and this is all we're getting, you're still probably a little less than a 1-to-1, about a 1-to-1. in terms of a risk reward ratio. If we're breaking this level, which is what I'm anticipating, that's a 3-to-1, almost a 4-to-1, right? I'm looking for it to come in that mid-range. So you still got your 1.5 to 1-ish. I think it's not a bad trade idea. Just keep in mind with the market and the US dollar, be very, 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 very careful. So let's get that off of our board, exit, and that's gone. 2 more, you're going to have to pick your poison, because actually on my list I also had USDJPY. I can't have all of those darn USD pairs, so we're going to have to pick your poison of which one you want the most. We already have quite a few other chef pairs. Well, we have one other chef pair, right? One other JPY pair. So you've got an option: UJ, UCHF, and NZDUSD. As you can see, we got our trade idea here. Okay. Ta-da. We haven't got the continuation from it. We're still kind of hanging out. We haven't got the follow through, and we're still sitting pretty low. So on this one, I'm not going to be looking for a trade idea. And I'll even put a little text note. I should go back to the 4-hour. Put a little text note that says, no trade. Watch it. Okay? Just watch it. And get an idea. Gonna skip this one. We are pretty far away. I'd want to see it break this. And since we're already at the bottom on the daily, I'm going to give that one a little bit more room for this to sell down. NZDUSD, this is the 4-hour time frame. We do have a valid buy idea. We got our impulse, we've got our correction, and now we're sitting back at the 50. We're coming right back into range. So in terms of this trade, this is the only one this evening that I am putting an active buy on the second I hang up on this YouTube. Putting an active buy, so I'm going to go to a solid line, buy. I'm going to be a couple pips off, but that's okay. And as you guys can see, this time down here, okay, is what? 6:07 o'clock. So it's technically 6/6 for the date in the US, but you guys know exactly when this was made. So that's where I'm looking. That's the price point that I'm at. I'm going to solidify that line so we can't accidentally manipulate it. We've got buy here. No trade, just watch. Pending here. Watch it. Not calling it, but watch it. I think this is a good trade idea. Give you an idea, that's where we're sitting. I think we've got some definite room to the downside. So worth watching. If you really want this trade, we can keep that up. But just do your own due diligence. If when you break out of this area, you're going to be getting not only a confirmed JGS signal, but you're also going to have a great risk reward and plenty of room. So not a bad way to be. EURNZD, we're looking for the sell upon breakout, only upon breakout. It needs to move, break, and touch this price point. GJ, looking for a sell upon breakout. If you want that earlier entry, I would implore you to go to a smaller time frame and look for a confirmation with whatever method you're using. Otherwise, my pending is going to be here. GN, my pending is going to be here for the sell. NZD, my pending is there for the buy, and those are all the trades for this evening. Actually, I'm going to put this. I don't know why. I love trading. Sorry. Making more work for myself. I'm not putting a line here. I'm going to put a note. Delete. Delete. I should have done the other one. So again, no trade. Worth it. When it sets up, I can type. No, I can't. Sets up for the sell. And I gotta get rid of that last character. No trade yet. So I don't even have a pending trade yet, but just so you guys have all of that. Now, without further ado, you guys have that little notation at the beginning that says our stop loss currently is at 1 fractal back with a 0.25 cushion. I'd like to go ahead and formally move that up to a 0.5 cushion at least. I know it's the 4 hour, but I think it's well worth it given areas like this, right? That's number one. Number two, we said protect within 25 pips. Notice how the variation is pretty big. Some of these are 18, some of these are 80. So we got to be very mindful and careful. You guys can keep that at 25 pips. I'd really like you to be using 1 ATR, but I digress. I can't always, not everybody is comfortable with that. And now beyond that, how do we know when to get out? And we're talking about that a little bit in our live classes, as well as I'm working with one of my partners who is kind of testing out a couple of things. This way, it's not just for me, right? It's not just about me. So of course you can use something like if price closes on the other side of the 8 moving average, right? So you're buying, price closes on the other side of the 8 or the 10, by all means exit that trade and just miss out on the rest of it. That's okay. But whatever methodology, whether you're using automatic management, scaling out, trailing out, exiting out, is ultimately going to be up to you. My job is to hopefully come show you a couple of decent trade ideas, great strategy, and good management, and be able to say, okay, what if we do this? How are you going to be able to profit and or succeed with this method? But that's it. My daughter actually picked up Thai food tonight, so that's what we're going to have for dinner. I hope you guys all have a happy and amazing Tuesday. If you have questions, comments, and what have you, please put them in the chat. My team will be back in touch with you. Otherwise, take care, God bless, and I will see you on the next one.